Hello, and welcome to Conversations on Europe, Teachable Moments. This is a program brought to you by the European Studies Center at the University of Pittsburgh. My name is Alison Delnor, and I'm the Associate Director of the Center. I'm here with Dr. Mame Fatou Niang, who is an Associate Professor of French and Francophone Studies at Carnegie Mellon University. Dr. Niang's recent research examines the development of Afro-French identities and the words of second and third generation female immigrant writers of the banlieue. Today, we're going to be talking about the Black Lives Matter movement in Europe. Welcome, Mom, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Alison, for this presentation and for the invite.
So in the US, the Black Lives Matter movement is about excessive use of force by police and a demand for greater equity in policing tactics. What are the prominent issues fueling the Black Lives movement in Europe?
So it's very interesting the way the Black Lives movement starting with Michael Brown's death, but especially since the end of June and the death of George Floyd was recuperated in Europe and fueled demands by Black population on the continent for better recognition, equality, and the end of discrimination, especially state discrimination. In the case of France, the number one issue was absolutely police brutality. And what happened is that this movement here is fueled by a woman called Assa Traoré, who's fighting for justice in her brother's death. And the very interesting thing is that her brother died 4 years ago, and he's at the end of police, after a meeting with police, and his last words were, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." George Floyd's death and this resemblance between the manner of death really brought light to her fight. And what is very interesting is that the theme of police violence and state-sponsored violence became really a rallying point where minorities in France, not just Black, but minorities in France, Arab, Asian, rallied around behind that woman, Assa Traoré, who absolutely became the face of the Black Lives Movement. And behind that theme of police violence.
Do Europeans or French view race? How does it differ from the United States?
So here I really want to make a difference between the rest of Europe. Let's say, I'm thinking about countries with huge minorities and huge Black communities like Norway, Belgium, Germany, or England, and really anchor my work in France because, that's where I'm from, but also that's what I study. And because France has this extremely disturbing and peculiar way of seeing race and racism, given that the race does not exist. We've arrived at the conclusion around 20 years ago that race is a biological construct, which is true, right? Race doesn't exist. We might be of different color, but we're all human. We live in France and what we call les valeurs républicaines, the Republican value of liberty, equality, fraternity. And we only have two categories of people in France, citizens and foreigners. There is no other difference. And when you're a citizen, you're French, and that's it. The French Constitution says that Frenchness is one and indivisible. You cannot hyphenate Frenchness with religion. You cannot hyphenate Frenchness with race because race does not exist. And that's perfect because, who doesn't want to live in a place like that, right? Where equality is de facto the base, the foundation of the society. But the problem that we have is that you can't create a reality for 400 years, base, European modernity on that, base the construction of your country on that, base the construction of your social identity, because for Europeans to exist, you had to have, the others. For the civilized to exist, you had to have the uncivilized, the salvage. For white to exist, you had to create Black. So you cannot build 400 years of your history, of your economy, of yourself on that, and then all of a sudden decide that, hey, we're going to take it away and achieve equality. Because now we're living in a society where race permeates everything around us. So right now, today, we don't have words to talk about Blackness because Blackness is not considered soluble in the Republican ideal. When you look at statistics of police brutality, we are at more than 80% of victims of police brutality who are Black or Arab. But because race doesn't exist, you can't use those statistics. Police brutality is overwhelmingly targeting these minorities, but you cannot make the link with racism because guess what, guys? Racism doesn't exist in France because race doesn't exist.
So can you tell me a little bit about, are there counter protests like we're seeing in the United States?
No, there's no counter protest because we don't need a counter protest. The counter protest happens on every day. The debate is open. The debate has been kind of forced on France because France didn't want it to happen. But I mean, you can't say no to 1 million people in the street, right? So, but the way the counter protest is happening is that one, at the government level, it's really, I mean, it's, we don't see you, we don't hear you. But when we finally we are forced to hear you because you're on the street, you're vocal, it's to call you traitors, it's to call you separatists, it's to call you communitarists, it's to call you a danger to national unity because you're bringing this wedge, the race that we know that, oh my God, look at the US. The United States is going ablaze because they allow this poison to come into their country. And look at, England, they try to be progressive and call themselves a multicultural country. So we want to keep this poison, outside. And now we have these people who are a virus inside us and that are opening the door for the poison to get in. So you had this extremely, like this war tainted, medical disease tainted vocabulary that was used by the president to talk about 1 million of French people of all color who were in the street asking for justice. This is where the counter protest is happening at the government level. I mean, very high government level. We're talking presidents, and also by like the media pushing back against the movement.
Within a historical context and from your perspective in France at this moment, is the Black Lives Matter movement into 2020 different than it's been at other times?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that the pandemic absolutely played a role in that because, I mean, the Black Lives Movement had been in France for, like at least as long as it's been in the US, right? Words or notion to talk about our lives here and the fact of Blackness in France, that we've been forced from the beginning to kind of look at what's happening outside, borrow words, and see how, and if those words were, translatable in a French context. So we've always used Black Lives Matter, right, since its inception in the US. But really 2020, I mean, BLM in France, even January or April 2020 is not what it is today. And I think that the pandemic marked that shift, the fact that we realized that our government failed us, the fact that we realized that we were alone, and that if we really wanted to create a new project, we had to kind of take things, be more vigorous in the way we articulate our demand, and also realize that, and I think it was also very energizing for us to realize that this was a global movement that echoed around the world, and that even today people are still marching, and that it became, I don't want to say a brand, but something that people recognize. And, even if not everything is perfect, it's a global movement. So for us to recognize, the virality of it, to recognize the fact that it's grounded on a global project, the fact that the movement has echoes around the world, really energized us in ways that we couldn't even think about, like, 8 months ago. So yeah, absolutely, things have changed, and I don't see it going back to what it was before, May 2020. There's a good reason to hope, which is kind of crazy when you see, the place where we are today, whether it's in the US or in Belgium or in France. You have to be hopeful, because otherwise what we're going to do is stay in our bed and cry and accept that we'll be treated as second-class citizens for the rest of our lives. For me, I mean, the options is so bad that I'd rather take this and at least take a chance at fighting.
It's been so great to talk to you. I'm just so glad that you were able to join us from France.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for viewing our latest Teachable Moment. If you're interested in others, please visit our webpage, which will be linked below. And we also have additional resources to accompany this discussion. Thank you very much.